And we're back again with another video. Good evening, guys. And okay, the light just changed there. So this is Nitish, and this is Beyond the Post. And I have with me Steve, who's here to talk about the Arsenal versus Olympiacos game, the second leg of the match, and the tie. Arsenal went through, as I told you, Steve. But it was a win for Olympiacos and a good day. Good day for Olympiacos and Greek football. So before we go ahead, Steve, where can people find you and how are you doing, man?
Well, thank you so much for having me back on again, man. I really appreciate you asking me. And so if you guys want to find my content, which is mostly blog related, I have my Twitter handle, which is at Steve Kountourou, and also I'm on Instagram too. I'm part of a contributing site called Hellas Football, and we specialize in distributing content involving Greek football in English, because there's not a lot of mainstream outlets that have that. And so a lot of Greeks abroad want to see the content is in English, because some people outside of Greece don't speak Greek. And so we do content on the Greek Super League, the Greek Super League 2, the national team, Greeks abroad, like Greek football players playing abroad. And we have a weekly podcast that you can find on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. So please give me a follow, give Hellas Football a follow. It would be much appreciated.
Yep, and Steve was just telling me about the work he's doing. So if you guys want to see, check out his work, as he just mentioned, where you can find him. Do take a look at his articles, and he's doing some good work there as well. And hopefully you guys like it and keep reading it. And yes, obviously we also post content, but now we are more into cricket. But so big up to all the cricket fans around the world as well. And yes, so let's get quickly into the game that we were talking about, Arsenal versus Olympiacos. Not the best game for Arsenal fans. I guess a lot of Arsenal fans must have torn their hair out after watching that performance. But Steve, what did you think of that game?
I think overall it was a bittersweet result for me, because obviously we won the game, which is fantastic. It's fantastic for the Greek coefficient overall in Europe. It's fantastic for us as a club, because it means next season, if and when we qualify for European football, we have a higher pot seeding. One of the highest pot seedings, I believe, in the qualifiers, which is vital to us then getting to the Champions League from the first qualifying round, which is 8 games in total if we actually make it to the group stage proper. But yeah, it's disappointing. Disappointed a little bit as well, because I felt like if we'd had a full strength squad in the first leg, maybe we could have taken the tie to a bit more. But ultimately, I think Arsenal were the ones who deserved to go through. Fair play to the Arsenal team for just sticking it out. It wasn't the best performance from them overall, but they did enough in the first leg and parts of the second leg to pressure us and prevent us from scoring 2 more goals that we required to go through. So yeah, I think credit where credit's due to Arsenal. And I was happy again. Like I said, happy with the result. Overall tie though, disappointed, but hopeful for next season.
And Adam quickly dropped a comment for you as well. He's saying, "Hi mate, I got you in the background, and Steve, I'll tweet you later." And he would like to do a podcast about Greek football. So definitely football with Brownie. I'll get you guys in touch, and obviously you can do that. But
yeah, I'll be up for that.
Sure. And did you like, with respect to the Arsenal tactics, were you surprised, or were you like, okay, we knew that they're going to be doing this, they're doing what we were expecting of them, and that's about it? What did you think about those tactics that you saw on the pitch?
Well, it was mostly what I expected. I think for the most part, the lineup as well is pretty much what I thought. I thought Aubameyang would start. I was surprised not to see Thomas Partey start. I thought that Arteta would set up a full strength 11 just to try get the tie done in the first 45 minutes, because all you guys needed was to score a goal, and that's the tie done. And you guys came out of the blocks in the first kind of 25 minutes and really, really pressured us, and we were slow to get into the game like we have done multiple times in Europe. And so it's almost what I expected, and you guys had a couple of chances early on to put the game to bed and the tie to bed, but you didn't take your chances. And then our first chance of the game was the game changer for me. I thought that Jose Sá's fantastic ball over the top to El Arabi, who went through, and then the shot he took was well saved by Bird Leno. Big chance for us to get an early goal in the game, which is what we required, and we didn't get that. But from there, I thought that was when the tie turned and we started playing a lot better.
But I got the feeling that was slightly offside. Probably if it went in, I think the VAR would have probably ruled that out.
And to be honest, with our luck with VAR in Europe this season, it most likely would have. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we didn't score that chance. I imagine they would have checked it again. I mean, they even checked the goal that we scored in the second half. They even checked that for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but obviously it wasn't. The goal stood, thankfully. So yeah.
One of the guys said if it was offside, Arsenal has the worst luck in Europe with respect to VAR. Would you disagree with that, or would you agree with that, knowing our results?
I think you guys have had a mix of unfortunate VAR decisions in the league and in Europe, whereas with us, most of the decisions that have gone against us in the league, for the most part, have been fair. I think maybe one or two I could name where possibly it wasn't the correct decision, but in Europe, honestly, some of the decisions that weren't going our way last season and this season, it was, I think, some of the worst decisions I've seen as a football fan. And maybe I'm slightly biased as an Olympiacos fan and seeing those decisions go against us. But there were some offside calls, there were some penalties given against us that I just thought, that's wrong. Like it was a blatantly wrong decision for the referee, but they were given anyway. So that's up for debate. Who has the most unlucky record in Europe? But I can certainly say that we've had some bad luck for sure, if not for you guys as well.
Yep, and obviously Leno made a good save again, as you just mentioned. That irrespective of whether it was offside or not, it was a brilliant save. So a lot of fans were like, "Wow, how did he make that save?" But obviously that is Leno, and Arsenal fans have been saying that he's one of the best in the league. But anyways, let's stop from bloating about Leno and going on again about the tactics, because so much defensive, like the entire play was defensive. I could not see where our goals would come from, but then we got chances and then we wasted our chances. So I'm surprised that we didn't score in that game, and but eventually Olympiacos did, and again a gift from us. So Dani Ceballos doing it again for us.
Yeah.
So do you feel that his career at a big club is now done? I mean, Arsenal will send him back. Real Madrid won't take him because based on what he has shown so far.
I can't see you guys signing him on a permanent, and I think a lot of Arsenal fans will be up in arms. And it's a shame because he seemed like such a talented player when Zidane got him. I think it was from Real Betis. Zidane got him from at Real Madrid. He had a lot of promise. Yeah. He is a talent. It's whether he can translate that talent into this same kind of mental ethic that you need as a footballer, because talent can only take you so far, as we've seen with loads of players in the past who are just raw talent, but just never took that next step. And I think there's still elements of Ceballos' game that are valuable to Arsenal, but some of the decision making, especially both the goals that we scored against you guys in both legs, was down to him. And I think in terms of him being finished at the top level, I think it's going to come down to whether Zidane stays at Real Madrid, because I know Zidane is a fan of Dani Ceballos. So whether he stays at Real Madrid is also whether Zidane stays at Real Madrid or not. I could certainly see him going back to Betis, going back to like a mid-table Spanish side who's like in Europe.
Real Sociedad, maybe if they don't get Odegaard, maybe they may go for him.
Potentially, exactly. I mean, you guys on the contrast, you guys want Odegaard, and I feel like that's a fairly realistic transfer for you guys if Arsenal are willing to dish out the money for him. But in terms of Ceballos, I don't think his career's done yet. He's still quite young. He's still got time. But I think he's got to be careful because these next few years for him are crucial. If he doesn't show any of the promise that he's kind of when he was younger, I think it could potentially be not the end, but certainly the end at the top level for him.
There could also be one more thing that may happen, that Zidane is a fan of Dani Ceballos, Zidane was a fan of Dani Ceballos, and he's sold by Zidane himself. Who knows? Because he's not shown anything. He's not shown anything so far at the moment that we can say is maybe top level. I have not seen it. Last season also he was inconsistent. His main problem that I see at Arsenal is within the 90 minutes he doesn't show consistency even within a 90-minute game. So forget through the season, not even in 90 minutes. I don't know what he's doing at a top club. Probably that's Ceballos that he had come to India for the under-17 World Cup, if I remember. Under-17, I think it was under-17. And he was liked by the Indian fans as well. But then once he's gone back, I don't know what has happened. It's like he's forgotten how to play football all of a sudden.
Maybe it's sometimes younger players can get disillusioned. Maybe it's the environment is different. Maybe he was more comfortable being in Spain. I mean, he clearly wanted to come back to Arsenal if the loan happened again, if you got a second loan from him. Yeah, I think being surrounded by a bunch of talented players at Real Madrid, I think you can sometimes get shielded from your individual qualities, because if you're sometimes in a team with better players, you look better because they make you look better by being around them. So maybe it's that, and it's not to say Arsenal don't have quality players. It's just that maybe the system that he's been running, where he has to prove himself and be one of the main sort of creators as a number 8 in that squad, maybe that's just not something that he can do at a club like Arsenal. Maybe I don't know. I mean, he showed that at Real Betis. He did enough at Real Betis to get picked up in the first place. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and another thing, just wanted to add quickly to that. We talked about the Dani Ceballos gift that you guys got. In a way, you can say, like, again, Dani Ceballos making a meal out of it. But apart from that, did you feel that Olympiacos lacked the creativity? And if not for that Dani Ceballos goal, probably the game would have been goalless in a way.
I think the way in which we set up was good. It was something that Pedro Martins experimented with the day before the game, to play a 3/5 at the back, and to have 3 centre backs, the more attacking wing backs, and then having 2 midfielders, 2 wingers, and a striker. And I think in the first half hour, it normally takes us about midway through the first half to sort of warm into the game, but it was really static at times. I felt the passing especially. And we did lack a bit of creativity at times, but I think the change in our flow was when we finally got that first chance from El Arabi, and after that, we looked a lot more impressive. I think maybe we could have created more, but at the same time, I think it's more down to the system. I think if we played a system we were more comfortable with, maybe we would have created more, but maybe then we would have been more vulnerable at the back. So the key thing that Martin clearly saw was to not concede. And that was the first thing, and we ultimately achieved that. It's just that then we at times maybe sacrificed creativity. But I was happy with the system, which I maybe we'll see again against a bigger club in Europe, and maybe in a tie where it's not necessarily reliant on having to score loads of goals. If it's just in the group stage where we just need to win a game to go to the next game and the next game, that system could work. So I'm happy with what I saw.
And a quick question related to that: do you think Martins was too late in changing his tactics? Like, when he saw that Arsenal was going all defensive, he should have just said that fuck the 3-4-3. I should go for a 4-3-3, or probably push further for attacking and change it. I mean, not exactly a 4-3-3, but whatever helps me attack more, because I have gone with the notion of not conceding a goal. But Arsenal clearly don't really care about not scoring a goal. Like, I mean, we were set up so defensively until that change was made at halftime, when Thomas Partey and Odegaard were brought in. We were not that keen on attacking. If there was a goal from our side, fine. Otherwise, forget it. We don't care. We just want to win the tie. So do you think Martin should have changed few things at that point of time immediately and said that let me go all out attack? They are trying to defend, and this is the best time where I can take this opportunity and probably score a goal? Or were you happy with the way things were?
I think, like I said, I'm happy with how things were. I feel like, I mean, honestly, I could name 3 chances that you guys got that you should have put away. There were more than that. And I just felt like if we had to change to a back 4, and try and go for the attack, play the higher line, you guys would have capitalized on that maybe more, and maybe you would have got more chances. And the more chances you get, the more likely it is that you're going to score. So I'm glad that despite the chances we almost gave away, we kept our shape really well, and so I felt like that was crucial for us ultimately getting the win. And maybe towards the end of the game, possibly we could have done that, but then I think what hindered us slightly was Usain Ubar being sent off around the 82nd minute. And it's a big ask to score 2 in like 10 minutes plus added time. But possibly then maybe would have changed to a more attacking system. I mean, then we had no choice. We had a back 4 finishing the game because we went down to 10 men.
No, yeah, I understand what you're exactly saying, but I feel when we started off with El Neni and when we started off with Dani Ceballos, it was a clear message by Mikel Arteta that I am not going here to win this game or score goals. I am going to defend this lead and the lead that I have from the first leg. Now I feel Martins obviously wanted to start in a different way, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel that if he had tried to get a goal or two in the first half, the game would have been totally different. But again, Arsenal did what they did. We were so bad in front of goal. I agree with you on that. Pepe and Aubameyang had one of the worst games of the season, I can say.
I couldn't believe it. Like last season, Aubameyang would have scored those 2 chances he got. I couldn't. When he was 1-on-1 after we scored, it was like midway through the second half. I thought, okay, that's the equaliser. And then Jose Sarr, credit to him, he came out. He didn't make the save, but he made himself big as a keeper should.
Yeah.
And that clearly caught Aubameyang off guard, and he sent it well wide. And I just thought, wow, like we really got away with that.
The Danny Ceballos pass was the more clear one, if you remember. Danny Ceballos fed it to him, and if he would have scored that, I think that could have even saved Danny Ceballos' career at Arsenal.
That's what Ceballos is good at. He is good at the clear cut pass into the attacker. It's just he doesn't do that consistently enough, and then he switches off in games, and that could be very dangerous if a player in his position switches off, because the moment you lose the ball in midfield, that's it. They're going to counter attack.
Yeah, exactly. So that is one big problem with him, and I don't know. I don't see him staying at Arsenal. But again, talking about the goal, do you think that it came at the right time, or would you have liked to see your team score in the first half, and you feel that the first goal was a bit late? Had it probably come in the first half, Arsenal would have had more nervy feet?
I think we should have scored in the first half, certainly. Irregardless of the chance we almost scored from in the first half, I think we should have created slightly more in the first half. But I think it was a lot to do with us coming into the game in the first 30 minutes. If we had just gone from the get-go, I felt like maybe we would have been more likely to score in the first half. But I wasn't displeased with when we scored, because we scored 5 minutes after the second half began.
Yeah.
And that's actually not a bad time to score if you're looking to score multiple goals, because then that gives you a platform to then gain momentum and then go forward to try score a second and then maybe a third. I think if we had scored that in the maybe past the 70th minute mark, then I would have thought,
too late.
That this isn't happening. But I had a tiny bit of hope that maybe we'd score a second, and if late on we had got the chance, maybe score again. But ultimately that didn't work out. I think you guys brought on Partey immediately after we scored. Danny Ceballos came off. You guys shut up shop. Defensively, you were much more sound, and we couldn't really break you down. And I think, unfortunately, the players that we had at our disposal on the bench were not good enough to actually impact the game in any positive way. If anything, it sort of regressed our play slightly.
Yeah, and to add to that, I just feel that Partey and Odegaard coming in were, I think, not just defensively strong, but they were more better ball carriers and ball retainers. So I think that is where the game also changed after that. But yes. I guess I don't know what's happened with Thomas Partey. He was fouling your players again near our box. So I don't know what exactly has happened with Thomas Partey. He better sort it out. But yeah, coming on to another point of discussion again, Arsenal's defensive woes. When will they end? if we give that to Slavia Prague, I think they'll kill us. They will kill us in the Europa League. They'll knock us out. They'll send us back home. If we give such chances to them as well, based on what we have seen in the last round for them, I think they will totally. If we give them such easy chances to score, I think they will totally destroy us and send us back home, like what happened with Spurs.
Well, they shouldn't be taken. They should be taken very seriously. I mean, look at the teams they've knocked out. They knocked out Leicester City, who are pushing for top four. They in the last round they knocked out Rangers, who are undefeated in Europe. Yeah, and Rangers are a fantastic team, and a lot of people expected Rangers to be the one to go to the final, to the last 8, and you would have faced them instead, which would have been a really, really even bigger challenge than Slavia Prague.
I thought so.
No disrespect to Slavia Prague. Like, as a team unit, they're functioning fantastically. But I would also very biasedly say I feel like Olympiacos on their day would be good enough to beat the Slavia Prague side. But who knows? In this current season, probably not, because of how they set up and how solid they were. If you keep 2 clean sheets against a Premier League side, that's fantastic. And that's what they did against Leicester. So they should not be underestimated. Much like I said with us, despite them being a smaller team than Arsenal, they should never be underestimated, because those kind of naive chances that you give them from the likes of Ceballos, from the likes of some of your backline, you'll get punished. And I think the mentality of Arsenal at times isn't strong enough to come back from losing a lead like that.
Yeah, and as I was mentioning Spurs, look at what Dynamo Zagreb
Dreadful,
did to them.
absolutely dreadful with Tottenham. Yeah, and they did exactly. And I said this yesterday on a different stream. They did exactly what you guys did last season against us, when you thought, okay, the tie is done. Let's just get easy draw, whatever at home.
Even this
in the
season,
next second leg.
Even this second leg, we did the same thing.
I think less so. I'd say in the way that you set up and the way that Arteta approached the game, I think you guys approached it better, regardless of the result. You guys did enough, and I think also the third goal in the first leg almost killed our chances anyway. Yeah. But Spurs was so naive. Honestly, they were dreadful. That's one of the worst Spurs performances I've ever seen. And at the end of the day, again, Dynamo Zagreb, a team that I would consider a team that Olympiacos would be able to beat on our good day. They took out Tottenham, and we couldn't do that last season against Spurs in the group stage of the Champions League. So credit to Dynamo Zagreb. They dug deep and they got the 3-0 win they needed. So, I think they're the ones that deserve to be there.
Sorry. Even the attitude of the team matters a lot. One thing just want to quickly add with respect to our thing. I think I give Arteta a lot of credit because if you have seen the Wenger days, Wenger would have waited for it to be 2-0. Then he would have made the changes. But what Arteta did is, as soon as you scored that goal, he was like, I'm getting Thomas Partey and Odegaard on, Ceballos and Elneny off. So I give him credit there because instantly, as soon as that first goal went in and you were starting to dominate the play at the start of the second half, he changed things. He didn't wait too long. Yes, he wanted to rest some of these guys for the West Ham game, but that change was very critical. Do you see that difference? That was a very good call, or...
No, I agree. I think Partey. I know Partey played against Spurs and he would have been tired, but I think that was a great change from you guys. The moment he came on, it brought you more defensive solidity. I know he made a few fouls. Maybe that is the fatigue coming through. But at the end of the day, he stopped our ball. He stopped our progression down the pitch, and tactical fouls are something that Pep has implemented in his game, and Arteta has learnt under Pep. Therefore, that's probably something he's maybe suggested to Partey to do. Odegaard, hugely talented player, should have scored as well, went straight through into the box, dribbled around one or two players, and then dug his foot into the underside of the ball and just lifted it over the crossbar. He should have put that on target at least. He added a lot more attacking threat in that sense as well.
The ball also wobbled there. I think it bounced a bit. I could see that. I thought it bounced a bit in front of him, and that is why it went into orbit.
Either way, he just didn't control it at the very he did everything right up until then, and that was his chance to put the tie to bed. But ultimately he didn't do that.
Talking about putting the tie to bed, what was your reaction to Pepe and Aubameyang's overall performance?
I thought Pepe did okay. I thought that he at least was a tough for our players to deal with on his side of the pitch. I thought he made a lot of fantastic runs. The chance he got was probably the best. Probably the best chance of the game, because that's the one criticism I'd give to our goalkeeper Jose Sarr. He shouldn't have come out of his box to try and meet Pepe, because Pepe has the skill and the flair to just completely pass him. He took the shot. If it hadn't gone off Socrates' back leg, it would have gone in, and so that would have been another howler for Sarr. So thankfully he was saved by his defender. But I also understand why Sarr did that, because again, it was to make him look himself big, to try and cut Pepe off. Aubameyang, on the other hand, I was surprised. I was surprised at his performance. He had his chances, but he just didn't put them away. And an in-form Aubameyang does that. Last season, Aubameyang does that. And so, in a way, I'm glad that he didn't score, obviously. But as much as I love Aubameyang, against us, I don't want him to score. But that's something that Arteta's going to have to look at, because for some reason he can't seem to function properly on his own as the lone striker now. He either needs somebody next to him or he needs to play on the left for Arsenal. He just got given a new contract a year or so ago, didn't he? Like a big bumper.
He got
contract.
it at the start of the season, initially, and 3-year deal. So he's the highest paid player now, and the Ozil syndrome.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he sees it as, not the twilight years of his career, but he probably feels like this is his last big contract. Like he's not gonna get another opportunity to maybe go to a club of the level of Arsenal or a bigger club. That being said, Barcelona like to buy over 30-year-old players, so maybe Barca would go for him if they need a new striker. But yeah, I think maybe he sees this as his last big contract, and that's why he's sort of like, okay, I can just like take it easy. I'm at Arsenal now, like I'm the main man. Whereas he has got players behind him like Lacazette, who is much better at link-up play, does a lot more for the team overall in terms of his gameplay. And then you've got Martinelli, who's an up-and-coming young forward who's setting the world alight when he's fit.
And who came on and got your
Martinelli
within a minute or two. But then again, were you happy not to see Lacazette start and not to be that he wasn't brought on as well?
I guess so. Yes, I was surprised he wasn't brought on actually, because I think he like I said, I think he would bring a lot more later in the game when it comes to even if he doesn't score, he's so much better at holding the ball and then passing out to the players advancing past him. That I think that would just be something that would bring a bit more urgency to Arsenal's game as opposed to Aubameyang, who he had the pace when he was at Dortmund, maybe his first full season at Arsenal, but yeah, he's
even
kind
last
of,
year.
yeah,
Even last year
that's what I mean though. Like that was his first. I think that was his first full season because he came in January for you guys, didn't he?
No, that was his second. The first, the
Was that his
one
second?
before that, yeah, he
Wow.
won the Golden Boot. He won the
Of
Golden
course,
Boot
of
with
course.
Salah and Mane.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've said it pretty much. Like last season, he was excellent. Like he absolutely was unstoppable at times. And this season, he seems to have fallen off a bit. Maybe that's his age catching up with him. Who knows? Interestingly, there was some weird outlets that were linking him to us, and I thought, like, these aren't mainstream newspapers or outlets
Aubameyang to Olympiacos.
Yeah, and no, these are just people on Twitter, like people on social media kind of linking. I mean, I'm like, but that's so invalid. Like, where are you getting this from? How are we supposed to pay him 200 and whatever grand a week he's on? I don't even know his contract, but it's been astronomical. Those links are not like accurate links. Those are just people who have been like, oh, Aubameyang's old. Olympiacos like old players. He'll go there.
Was it after a weekend or on a weekend? Because I want to have what these guys are having then.
Oh, I mean, I think it was like yesterday. I think I heard somebody put it on the Hellas football chat that we all have. Somebody said,
Okay.
"Oh, but people are linking Aubameyang to Olympiacos." Not anyone valid. I just want to put that forward. Like nobody like who actually has a reliable source. It's just people saying it for the sake of saying it. So,
But he has a contract of 350K with bonuses per week. So how will Olympiacos manage to pay that money?
Exactly. That's exactly the point. They won't be able to. Our highest paid player is Kostas Fortounis at 100 grand a week, and that's unheard of for a Greek Super League player. And that's just because he's Kostas Fortounis. And we have tended to use the model of bringing in players without a fee, cancel their contracts being cancelled by their former club, and then being able to pay them the wages that they want, whether it be like 2.5 million a year, whatever we're willing to give them. But we're never ever going to sign a player like Aubameyang unless he's like 35, 36. He doesn't really care about the money; he just wants to play in Europe, And that's
And just a quick thing, what would be the ambition if you got a player like Aubameyang, like an old guy like Aubameyang, after his contract with Arsenal is done? Like, obviously, you are winning the league, you're winning the Greek Cup. So now the obvious target would be either Champions League or Europa League. I don't think if you get in a guy like Aubameyang, he would be able to help you win that at that age as well. So it doesn't even make sense with regards to that. So,
no, that's what I mean. It's just a lazy link to us just to get, I guess, likes and retweets and like traction and whatever. It's not any concrete valid sources at all. It was just something that we thought was hilarious because it would never ever happen.
Fantasy football. That's what
exactly. Yeah, on FIFA. Yeah. Do it on FIFA. Get financial takeover. Do it on FIFA. Do it on Football Manager. It's not happening in real life. I'd be surprised if it ever happened.
But based on let's go on with the game again. Talk about the game again. Based on the chances that we missed, because I remember looking at the stats, and we had a lot more shots. We had a lot more shots on target. Looking at the shots on target 5-2, but anyways, total shots 12-8. Do you think that was a fair result? Do you think Arsenal deserved to lose that game, or do you think it was poor individual performances that have cost us the game again?
If I'm honest, I think it's a mixture of things. I think Arsenal did enough to win the game and to put the tie to bed. But in terms of deserving to win, I think you deserve to win if you take those chances, and they didn't. Whereas we had less chances, but we took the opportunity that we were given. Granted, it took a deflection off of Gabriel to go in, but it was still a shot on goal, and it went in. And so I felt like we did enough to deserve to win that game. But I also think that you guys did enough, but it was just that taking that next step and actually converting those chances didn't seem to be there for you guys.
Yeah, that has been the problem right through the start of the season. Like at the start of the season, we were so bad and there was no creative midfielder. Then a Cam came in Emil Smith Rowe, and eventually Odegaard was also brought in on loan during the January transfer window, and everything has changed since then. More, it has improved in the sense we were winning some games, but we were losing some games before that as well, before the creative midfielder came in. But again, as I said, I didn't see any intent from Arteta or Arsenal to win that game. They wanted to win the tie. So overall, with respect to the tie, again, you're happy with the result. You feel that was fair as well. We did enough to win the tie.
Yes, I'd say so. I think maybe with a full strength Olympiacos squad in the first leg, maybe we take the game to you, and possibly I think that would give us a much better chance to go through ahead of you guys. Obviously, that didn't happen, and it's always great to talk about what if. But at the end of the day, we didn't have the players at our disposal to do what we set out to do in the first leg, and we had a lot more of them fit for this game. I think we showed ourselves a lot more this time around. We showed that we are capable of being competitive against a team that has a hugely bigger budget than us when it comes to you as a football club, hugely bigger net worth, hugely bigger worth of per player, and in terms of who earns more, and etc. etc. So I felt like despite the definite sort of margins that were bigger on one side when it comes to you guys in comparison to us, I thought we showed ourselves. We showed that we're capable of competing with a side like Arsenal, who is regarded as, one of the big clubs in European football. And so I think that's why, despite going out, it's disappointing because we want to go to the quarterfinals of a major competition. We can go out with our heads held high because we are like we have shown that we are capable of beating not anyone, but like people, certainly teams that are regarded as better than us on our day.
And just a quick couple of questions. Again, what about Al Arabi, his performance? I need to get used to pronouncing that name. Al Arabi, his performance again, he scored again for you. He's already 34. I think he will stay with you maybe for a couple of more seasons, you feel?
Yes.
But what next after that, once he leaves, probably?
Good question. You tell me. I mean, I imagine we'll deal with that when we get to it. But as for now, I'd like to see another season at least of Youssef El Arabi, because he's still doing it not only doing it for us in the league at 34, going on 35, but he's doing it in Europe as well. He struggled at first when playing in the Champions League. I think he had come back from an injury late on it last season, and I think he also got COVID, which didn't help as well. And so there was a mixture of things that maybe prevented him from showing his true self in the Champions League group stage. But once we got to the Europa League, he was phenomenal. He scored against PSV. He scored twice against you guys. And so he's showing that he can still do it in all competitions, and that's what we require. For me, he's the best striker we've had since Kostas Mitroglou, who was also a phenomenal striker on his day. And when we lose him, we're going to have a hard press to replace him. But hopefully we do replace him when he does leave.
You always tend to find another aging striker who produces goals.
It's just whether they do it or not, because we've had players that have been proven goal scorers who have come to the club and just not quite done it, like Oscar Cardozo, for those who remember him. He was a fantastic goal scorer in Turkey. He came to us and he just couldn't quite do it. And, we've had players like that in the past before, like Nelson Valdez, who, okay, but not great. And this is post Mitroglou, pre El Arabi. We had trying to think who else. We had Brown Day, who West Brom fans will remember. Had a good, very average first season. Had a very good first half of the next season, but then went to China for the big bucks, of course. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag in between the two strikers that I would say have been our definite best in this sort of era of Olympiacos, and so it will be hard. As long as we have the right scouts in the right places, hopefully we'll find somebody.
And within, like, based on his current form, would you rate him in the top 50 strikers in Europe, or would you say he's not yet there, even though he is firing for you?
Top 50 strikers in Europe. That's, I mean, that you'd have to make that as a list. Like, I can think of maybe 10, 15, 20 other strikers.
No, I'm saying, would El Arabi make it to that list?
I think so. Not in the upper echelons, but certainly I'd certainly put him in the top 40, top 45 strikers in Europe right now. I'd say so. Maybe I'm underrating him. Maybe people would say otherwise, but I think he certainly makes that top 50 list. It's just where I put him is another question.
I didn't tell you top 20 because I think 20 would be a bit high, and I think there are enough.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy, like, if he was around maybe top 30, around there, like, maybe just outside that. I think that's reasonable. He's proven it with the goals he's scored, and Greek Super League, I've said before, isn't a major competition. It's not a very high level competition, but at the end of the day, it's who he has to score in front of, and he does the job. And he is top scorer for a reason.
Yep, and over the 2 legs, I think he was way better than Aubameyang at least.
Yes.
You would be proud of that.
Yes,
you would
that
definitely
is true.
be proud of. And the last question that I have for you mainly is about. Some would say it was the game changer. At least Olympiacos fans will say it killed off the tie at that point. Was the red card. And again, another name that I need to get used to pronouncing. It's Osinao Ba. I think that is how you pronounce it. Osenu Ba. And he got sent off because he was looking very solid at the back. I feel he had a good game overall. He wasn't that bad in the sense that your defense looked good with the way that you guys were playing. And obviously, we get credit there as well for messing up our chances. But I don't know what happened. Suddenly, Martinelli comes in. One guy who runs at defenders, he just runs at him. He puts his arm out. That catches his face, yellow card. And then he just punches the ball away.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Bart is we've seen this a little bit over this season. When something happens like that, he just sends. I don't know what it is. He just has a bit of a. I think it's short temper. Like, and we've not seen that from him before. He's normally been quite calm, collective. If he gets booked beforehand, it would never really affect him. You just kind of, you wouldn't see anything on his face or any of his reactions that would be sort of like, okay, he's really pissed off. But over the last few months, we've really seen a weird side of Bar where he gets a bit short-tempered at these sort of decisions that go against him. And I was concerned about this over this last season because, I thought something like this may happen in which a referee may look at that, at what he did when he hit the ball after being booked and then would send him off for that because of his attitude. And it's a very, in my opinion, it's a very, very harsh sending off. I think
exactly.
that,
I also feel
different referee may not do that, but at the same time, you as the player shouldn't act like that on the pitch because there is the potential for you to be sent off, especially after being booked. And obviously, there wasn't anything he did directly to another player like Martinelli that was violent in terms of violent conduct, or say anything in a antagonistic way. But this hopefully is a learning curve for him. And with regards to the game being done because of that result, I wouldn't say that is solely his fault. I think, and I haven't seen a lot of Olympiacos supporters who would disagree with me with that. It's not a great, because I think before then he was in contender for our man of the match. He was fantastic. He was absolutely solid at the back. But that sending off, in a way, did sort of kill the game because we were still looking for that second goal, and we still thought, even then, like even after we went down to 10 men, we were still trying to get that second goal. Maybe it would have been different if he was on the pitch, but I don't think the sole blame should be on Bar, and I don't think he should be scapegoated for us going out. And I also think a lot of Olympiacos fans would agree with me in saying that.
Not scapegoating him for you going out, but the tie was done more or less because already creativity was something that you guys were struggling a bit with. And when you go down to 10 men, you need something very special then.
Yeah,
to score
certainly.
2 goals in 10 minutes.
I think if it had happened even 5 minutes before that, even 10 minutes before that, then
Yeah.
I probably would have leaned more towards, yes, that really killed it for us. But I also think that we had 8 minutes till regular time was over. It was unlikely for us to score two. You guys would have to really drop off for us to even attempt. And you guys, at that point, I felt were kind of solid at the back. You weren't letting us get a lot of opportunities. Like I said, our impact subs weren't impacting the game like how I would have wanted them to. So it didn't help, but I don't think that it fully killed the tie for us. I think the tie was more or less over by then. It's just it kind of ended it maybe quicker than it should have ended.
And do you blame the referee for that red card as well? I mean, even I thought it was a harsh one, because when you just booked the player and he's just punched the ball, as in that is the part of the entire thing that has happened. It's not, I mean, you in such a crucial knockout tie, maybe you can let him off with the warning that if you do anything now stupid again, maybe you're off. Do you think that was a bit harsh? Again, as you said, it was a bit harsh. So do you, as you have said, that the player gets, you can say, discredited for a stupidity, does the referee also get some part of the blame that he should have probably just booked? He has just booked him, so probably it was, he shouldn't have sent him off and given the
I'd
game
say
a chance.
so. I'd say so. It was surprising that he obviously the booking I think the initial yellow card was probably fair, but in terms of then coming back immediately and just being not taking any, not giving him another chance to just, right, that's it, you're off. I think there should have been I think there probably should have been a warning and for him to go to, right, if you do, like, you've done this, if you do that again, that's it, you're off, you know. Because you've already booked the guy. Like, it's not like he gave him a warning and then just gave him a straight red card, which, you know, arguably is as harsh, if not harsher, for something like that. But I'm not happy with the referee's decision. I can understand why he did that, but maybe, like you said, he should have been given the opportunity to not do that again. Because if you see if the referee catches him doing that again, then he is more warranted to give him the second yellow and send him off. But yeah, I wasn't happy with what the ref did, but I can also understand why he did it. Just what maybe should have waited.
And when you guys covered the details of that game, some of the fans on the watch along said he got the red card for maybe something that he said as well. Did you guys spot anything there that he said something that of something unpleasant and that is why he was sent off, or was it more about the action that he did?
I mean, look, if he did say anything, then again, even more of a valid reason to possibly give him the second yellow, if it was anything, you know, derogatory or antagonistic. But for the only thing that I got from it was the fact that he had hit the ball and it had bounced in the direction of Martinelli, and that attitude the referee didn't like, and that was why he got sent off. If he said anything, then sure, that gives a bit more validity to why the ref did that. But you can also see afterwards, I think the cameras really panned and focused in on Bar when he was in he was around the corner from, you know, the stairway leading back inside the stadium, and he was distraught. Like he was completely and utterly distraught after that, and a lot of our coaching staff and such were consoling him. So you can see what that meant. Like you knew that from there that like he didn't necessarily mean to do that, but it's just he lost his temper, and that's something that maybe is still a slight lack of maturity that Bar needs to cut out of his game a bit. Because I think, and other people have said this on other podcasts, that maybe was the game where he gets scouted by somebody who's part of a big team, big setup. Oh wow, this kid's fantastic defender, solid, physically, very imposing, very fast. But then once you see that happen and he gets sent off, that they may write him off and just think, right, he's got an attitude problem. He needs some maturity. He's not ready. And that's his opportunity missed. And that's down to him.
And I was just adding, not even if the scouts are watching, all Arsenal fans, a lot of people will be watching the game because it's Arsenal losing a game and there's a possibility of them getting knocked out. So you can say literally the world was watching both Arsenal and Spurs. We also lost the game, but we survived, and Spurs unfortunately couldn't. I just want to troll Spurs, so I'm mentioning them. But anyways, I think we have covered most topics about the game. Just a quick go through the stats. I'll just quickly read it out. We had 12 shots, you had 8. We had 5 on target, you had 2. You had more possession, 54 to 46. And passes, 558 to 483. You don't often see another team dominating Arsenal with respect to more passes. So you had more passes again. Accuracy, 82 to 81. Fouls, obviously, Olympiacos had more, 13 to 9. Yellow cards 1 to 2. That is Olympiacos had 1, Arsenal 2. Red card, obviously the one that we just spoke about. Corners, Arsenal 6, Olympiacos 3. Just one thing I just want to ask with respect to corners. Were you expecting a few more goals maybe from set pieces, or you don't generally tend to focus on set piece goals that much and you wanted more from open play?
I think we didn't have the players at our disposal to do that necessarily. Ruben Semedo, who's still injured, and I don't think is going to be back until early mid-April for the playoffs. In seasons past, has been quite good at scoring from a corner. And also Pepe Abou-Cisse, who we had at the club at one point, who's now out on loan to Saint Etienne in Ligue 1. He scored the header against you guys in the second leg of last season. So I think we lost a bit. We have certainly lost a bit of attacking threat from set pieces. But what I was very happy about is that we defended well from set pieces. And that's the first time in a long while I've seen us defend well against any team, regardless of level, whether you're Arsenal in the Premier League or you're one of the smaller Greek sides struggling to stay up, who we still concede set pieces and corners from. I'm glad that we defended so well from there. We didn't ever feel like we were going to concede from there.
Okay, and do you watch your cricket? Just an off-topic question.
No, I don't, I'm afraid. I used to play it a little bit at school. Like, I enjoy playing it. I've never been hugely interested in watching it, but I can appreciate it as a sport. And I have been to Lord's once, which was a really good experience.
Okay, just for all you cricket fans who will probably tune in, Virat Kohli is opening today and they've already scored 50 odd runs without a wicket and they're playing England. The series is 2-2. So whoever wins this game wins the series. So just check it out if you guys are interested. Apart from that, thank you, Steve, for all your inputs on this game. Again, if you remember, I mentioned it to you backstage as well and before as well. I don't think we went in to kill that game off. We just went there to try to win the lead, the tie, and credit to Olympiacos for winning the game, obviously. And I think you will be happy, as you had mentioned before, that you got the win. You got those all-important points that pushed the Greek league up. And I think it's a win-win for both of us, apart from the fact that you guys didn't go through to the next round.
Of course.
Arsenal is always a generous club.
Well, at least that's the thing. Like, we can still see the positives from this, and at least we got something. If not, obviously not what we wanted fully in qualifying for the quarterfinals. But as I said, a win is fantastic. It maintains our even record of 6 wins and 6 losses against Arsenal, which is a really fascinating result, which I love, which is why I hope we face you guys again in the near future, even though Arsenal fans may disagree with me. But yeah, like you said, coefficient points for Greece is fantastic. Points for us overall as a team in Europe is also great because it gives as I said at the very beginning, gives us a better chance of being the top seed for the vast majority of the qualifiers if and when we get to that point. So yeah, it is. There's a lot of positives, and the team performance as well. Like, a fantastic performance from the team. I don't know how much more we could have done, but from what I saw, it's very, 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 very. I'm very, very happy to see my team perform like that.
One thing that I had just forgotten to add, like the last question, I'll be honest. Who was your man of the match from Olympiacos? Mine from Arsenal was Gabriel. So who was your man of the match from Olympiacos?
My man of the match is our goalkeeper, Jose Sa. He kept a clean sheet against you guys. That's the first game in a couple of months that I've seen him be back to his old self. He was big, he was imposing. He didn't look like he was fazed by a lot of Arsenal's attacks. Maybe the one thing, like I said, I could maybe say to him, to not do next time was coming out of his box to face Pepe, and Pepe rounded him and almost scored from that opportunity. But other than that, I thought he was fantastic, and I'm glad that he's proved all the people who criticised him on social media, who went after his family on social media, which is disgraceful when you take out of the context of football and just go and attack people and their family members. And for him to come back from that and the performance he's had previously against Arsenal and the inconsistency he's shown in the league, I hope that this is something he can build on to get back to where he was before. And so I give full credit to Sarr. I think of that he's my man of the match.
And I agree with you on that. But one thing I just want to add, I think when he charged Pepe, I think he knows that Pepe has chicken legs. And when you charge him, he gets all nervy and he gets nervous and he messes it up. Like you saw, he had a clear opportunity to score there. And what did he try to do? He tried to put it in between the legs. He tried to play a weird kind of shot, which he didn't score at the end of the day. So I get what you're trying to say, but I think against Pepe, a goalkeeper can take that chance. If it was any other player, probably he would have scored.
That's fair.
And yes, so that's it. We have discussed more or less every single point of that game. Until we see Olympiacos again, we will never know what will happen to the next tie. But that does not mean that we can't have Steve again on the channel. So definitely soon we'll do more videos with you as well. And before we quickly wrap it up, Steve, where can again people find you so that if anyone tuned in late, they can also know? And please give a shout out to your channels as well.
Thank you. Well, thank you again for having me on, man. It's been a real pleasure. And yeah, you can find me with the Twitter handle at Steve Kountourou. It's the same handle for Instagram. You can find also my weekly blogs on Hellas Football with the Twitter handle at Hellas Footy. You can also find the same on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. We have a podcast that we do weekly, as I said before, on Apple Podcasts, on Anchor, and on Spotify. So please give us a follow. We also have the website as well that you can please go subscribe to as well for the latest content on Greek football in English. And yeah, just go and check out all the content because we've got some great guys on there doing some great things.
And definitely thank you for coming on once again. If you just tag me in something on your podcast or your articles at times on Twitter, I can definitely retweet them out. Because
Yeah, sure.
as I did mention to you backstage as well, the target by the end of the season is 10,000 Twitter followers. And hopefully if that happens, then anyone who wants to get promoted, definitely I don't mind retweeting stuff as well.
Thank you. That's very kind, man.
So I've been doing that a lot. Thank you. You are welcome as well. Thank you so much for coming on. And hopefully we do more podcasts in the future as well. I think some of the audience must be busy with the cricket and other things going around.
Of course.
So,
of course.
So big up to you for sparing some time out, and definitely let's do more stuff. Do you watch any club in the Premier League? Like follow them regularly a lot?
I'm more of just a Premier League neutral. Like I just follow the league as a whole. My dad is a massive Spurs supporter, so sorry guys. My dad supports the opposite team to you guys. But yeah, other than that, no, I don't really have a team I concrete follow. But I the Premier League. I live in the UK, so naturally I'll follow the Premier League and even the Championship at times as well.
And do you play FPL?
I do play for FPL. Yes, I do.
So yes, we do have leagues going on as well, paid leagues right now. But obviously, we can have you on board at the start of the
season. Down, definitely.
You should also get in touch with Simpy. He does a lot of FPL videos as well. I'll probably give him a shout out, or let's do a FPL video when we all get time together.
I'll be down for that. Yeah, certainly.
So big up to you as well. The leagues are going crazy. This game week in FPL is crazy as well for all the FPL fans, you know.
I know. Whoever didn't use their free hit, yeah, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get many points this week.
I didn't check this news, and apparently Bamford was fit for the game.
Yes, he got me a goal and assist. I had Bamford, so I'm very happy about that.
Three bonus points.
Yeah.
So big up to everyone, all the FPL fans, everyone who tuned in as well. Adam, not too many people active in the chat, but thank you for the people who are watching. And we will definitely be doing more videos, as we just discussed. A lot of common interest there as well. So thank you guys, and hope you enjoy your cricket, your football, and may Arsenal win the Europa League now. Come on, you Gunners. So big up to all you guys. Thank you, Steve, once again. Take care.
Thank you.
Be home, be safe, and do follow your COVID protocols, and don't go out there like wild people. And let's end this pandemic. We want our football and cricket to continue. T20 World Cup coming up, IPL coming up, a lot of